up, brother, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, brother, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Hey guys, we've been covering the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and I had some alarming information sent to me yesterday afternoon. Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared on February 26, 2024, and he has since turned 16. He disappeared from inside his locked home where he was allegedly only with his mother and no one else. There was no signs of forced entry, and it wasn't until March 14th that we realized there was some disturbances outside of the home where there were flashlights appearing on a neighbor's camera. Since then, I was sent a link to a video, and I ran that video on my show today. and it doesn't look good, and I do believe it's legitimate footage. This footage has been enhanced and identifies a lot more than we could have ever thought. Please take a look.
The best part about it is he has managed to do this without any evidence left behind whatsoever.
Used what Wi-Fi's were in the area. Right. Now, mind you, it was said that there were only two exterior internet sources that came in and out of the area that night. Mm-hmm. And isn't it funny how one person said one of them was his?
This image was sent to me, and I decided to do some further enhancements on it. So here's one shot where you can see Mr. Foote carrying something, but upon closer review and more enhancement of the photo, this is what I see now to be Katie, Chris, and Sebastian. They're carrying Sebastian. It looks to me as if Chris is carrying Sebastian in either a blanket or a bag. I see a blanket just because of the way the black shape is formed, and it looks like he's carrying him like a baby, and Katie is standing behind him or walking with him. The reason I think this is because when I was enhancing the photos, I could see the differences in the appearance of what looks to me to be a human face. And it looked to me like it was actually a human arm that was draped over the person who was carrying the black blanket, or the perceived person in the black blanket. But here's an example of what I saw. Here you can see the differences in enhancements, and as I enhanced each photo, you can tell that the person's skin stays the same color and the black blanket also stays the same color, so I know that those two images are associated with each other. So as you can see, each time I enhance the photo, you can see that the core images stayed the same. And then there's this little nugget. Let's watch.
I drove around the neighborhood, I drove over by the school, and he's already...
Now, while I can't replicate this information, and quite frankly, it's highly disturbing for me, it does appear that it's legitimate footage. It appears that it's legitimate footage from the lights video that was enhanced. And it appears that there was two people loading a large object into a vehicle. We've heard statements from the stepdad, multiple statements, that we'll never find Sebastian. Boastful statements that the best part about it is he never left evidence when referring to his stepson. Like I told my audience on YouTube, it's time for us to pray. It's time for us to pray for Sebastian. It's time for us to pray that he's found safely and is brought home to his father. God bless each and every person watching this video. It's time to pray. God bless. What we do know as fact, however, is that Seth has been searching for his son ever since his son disappeared. Seth has publicly taken a polygraph. He has publicly produced his work records. This man has done everything he could possibly do, including working with the FBI, working with me to advocate for his son, calling on the national media, getting Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter, and we're here with what from the mom and stepfather? Nothing for almost 10 months. Shoddy searches at best, working with an unscrupulous PI, felons, and including one searcher utilizing substances, illicit substances, while searching for their son.
If you shave your cooch, but not your booty hole, is that the same as a mullet?
My tongue got her ass and left. I'm on TV! Oh shit! First cops, now this? Oh.
It is nice to see every one of you this beautiful Saturday morning. We do have a lot to cram into, about an hour and a half, and we are going to just dive right in. This morning, we are waking up to a young girl, well, yesterday morning, but I have been inundated with paperwork and things in preparation of a major upcoming trial. And we have a 16-year-old child from my area that is deceased. And so we're going to get an update of this information. We're going to start, like I said, just dive right on in. Good morning, everyone that is in the chat. I want a big shout out to Melanie. Thank you. She says, happy Saturday, Betty, Delilah, mods, and chat. Love you, Betty, and everyone. Betty, I respect you and everything you do. Thank you so much. Our beautiful ginger girl says prayers for Seth and Sebastian. Good morning. And we also have Stephanie. Thank you so much, y'all, for your loving and wonderful support of this channel. I see our mod squad is in the chat this morning. Please don't forget to tell the mod squad thank you. And a big shout out to Miss Robin. You know why. Thank you so much for your loving generosity. I appreciate everything each and every one of you guys do on a regular basis to help me and help this channel grow. So thank you. You guys are truly the coffee club and the all-stars of this channel. This morning we have devastating news. This is very rough to hear, in all fairness, but we are going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to move into the topic of conversation, which is highly, highly disturbing and something that needs to be brought up. You guys know I do not do anything related to Katie's situation, her past history, or anything like that. But there has been some statements that have been made since the beginning of this case about her mother and about her mother being around other children, including but not limited to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And so it is very, very important to get to the bottom of this major problem that we've had nothing to really support those facts. And now we kind of have some pudding. Okay. And so we're going to get over to that pudding here in just a little bit. So stick with me. Let's learn a little bit about what's going on in this country, in this world. You guys will not see me back here online at all today until Seth Rogers' show. If you guys don't know Seth Rogers, he is the father. He is dad, right? He's Sebastian's dad. And he's going to be doing a live tonight, 7 Central, 8 Eastern time. So I hope that the whole coffee club will be there in loving support of Sebastian's dad and whatever his topic of conversation will be tonight. After his show is over, depending on how late that is, we may go live. It's going to be just to conversate about maybe some things we learned, maybe some something. We will be live. We will be figuring out where we go from there. So that would be provided 5 Pacific time. So thank you for that. Yes. So if you guys know where you are in the world, I don't. So you're going to have to, figure the time out. I think he's already got the live set up potentially. If somebody has the live already set up, if he already has it set up, please throw that specific link in the chat for me if you would be so kind. If not, just go over and make sure you're subbed up for Seth's show. I also remind people you're going to want to set up, because if you haven't been there and say he puts, a day or 2 days or 3 days, you're not going to be able to comment in there. And you might be able to with a super chat or super sticker, but I mean, most of our people like to conversate with each other throughout the duration of the live. So you might want to go ahead and get over there and make sure that you have signed up. For the trolls in the chat, there is going to be a massive amount of, moderators there. If you want to watch. Don't interrupt a father of a missing child. That's highly disrespectful, no matter how you feel about him. If you feel some type of way, you either don't show up or don't watch, or watch it on a hate channel's replay, or you act appropriately and have decorum when you're in somebody else's house. So hopefully everybody follows the rules and does the right thing. Thank you, Peggy. God bless you. Prayers for Sebastian and Seth. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and dive right on in.
Shock and grieving tonight after they say Abriella Elliott was killed by her ex-boyfriend. This is not.
And I want you guys to see her. She's a happy. In the two people involved in this case, they look like our normal kids, y'all. You know, the dude had some type of, and it's a very concerning because it was a battery, but it was from, you know, a little minute ago, I think like a year or 2 years ago, that he had that. So that shows you that he was already volatile, right? When you start having those, you know, battery charges and stuff like that, there's obviously a volatile situation going on behind the scenes. It's kind of our first peek into that there are any problems.
Right side. I'm Dave Wagner. Abriella was found dead yesterday in a nature preserve near her home, where the sheriff says she snuck out to meet the boy, now charged with first-degree murder. 10 Tampa Bay's Chris Hurst spoke briefly with her parents tonight, who say she just celebrated her sweet 16.
Sad.
It was about 100 yards behind me, inside Cypress Lakes Preserve, where Sheriff Al Nienhuis says the girl was lured and then killed by that 16-year-old suspect.
So they're saying he coaxed her out of the house, lured her here just to unalive her. I don't know. Let's listen to what they have to say.
We could tell pretty quickly that there was a lot of passion and a lot of violence involved.
That's how the sheriff describes the final moments for Abriella Elliott, murdered 2 weeks after her 16th birthday.
It was an altercation with an edged weapon. I will tell you that it was...
Why does a young boy, a 16-year-old boy, need to have an edged weapon in Hernando County? It doesn't make sense. Like, there's no fear, especially when you're sneaking out at night.
Nothing short of very violent, I will tell you that.
Her parents tell me the boy accused is Abriella's ex-boyfriend and that they broke up about 6 months ago.
Right now, we don't necessarily have any information that anybody else was involved, but we're certainly not eliminating that fact as a possibility.
We aren't naming the boy until he's charged.
Okay, yeah. Channel 10, get it together. We name violent thugs on this channel. So let me go back to that section of we're not going to let Channel 10 get away with that. I had a funny feeling this is what we were going to be dealing with. So let me go ahead and put it on up here. Nope. Let's see what he has to say. We're naming this.
Might have been in the
kid
area who originally told us that he was not in the area, and of course that caused us to focus in on that particular individual. I'm happy to report that a few hours ago, about 2 or 3 hours ago, after interviewing this individual and talking with the state attorney's office, we were able to develop enough information where the state attorney was comfortable in charging a Mr. Cameron Cubell, C-U-B-E-L. He's a 16-year-old white male, and he was charged or is in the process of being charged.
We live in Florida. We don't have room for liberal media that wants to hide the faces of animals that attack our 16-year-old children, coax them out of the house, and can't control their behavior. We will not comply with that. The sheriff has no problem showing his face. The sheriff has no problem naming this guy in a public forum. Shame on Channel 10.
Charged with first-degree murder. Again, that's in consultation with our local state attorney's office. We get them involved almost immediately when we have some situation like this to make sure that they are comfortable with the case.
So there is the culprit of this. That's one thing we will not do here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We do not hide people that do terrible things. We will not do that on this show. We have freedom of press here in this country, and I challenge all mainstream media to support their freedoms that they are provided in the Constitution. I do not have time to be playing this game with mainstream media wanting to block out this guy's face to protect him. Nobody protected the girl that he slaughtered. Nobody protected her, that he stuck and plunged a knife through. Okay? We don't play those games here on this channel. We don't play those games here on this channel. So we'll get past the not wanting to show his face.
Very likely, he's facing a first-degree murder charge.
The only history somewhat significant for this particular individual is a battery arrest last year.
So a battery arrest last year is what we have. You know, he looks like a good-looking kid. She's a very beautiful 16-year-old girl. She looks very happy. So I'm very interested in what truly happened. We have learned that this guy is her ex-boyfriend. They broke up 6 months ago. They must have been making things right, but her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, decided to bring a knife with them. Why would he need to bring a knife with him? It doesn't make sense. It sounds to me like this is why it's a first-degree murder, not a second-degree murder. It seems pretty intentional and pretty premeditated. So that's kind of our story for that. We also had another story that we were covering, and this is related to the man. Good gracious. Here we go again with StreamYard. Not every time I change the channel or change the page, it's now dropping the audio. It's irritating. Thank you, StreamYard. If anybody is going to become a content creator, use Restream. Don't get into the racket that I'm in where I'm kind of stuck like Chuck because they won't let me download my intro videos and I have to recreate them. So that's the only reason why I'm paying the amount of money program. But if you're a new content creator, go anywhere else. Do not, and I say this, buyer beware, do not use StreamYard. It is the most expensive, and you guys see all the technical issues I have every single day on this platform. It's shit. It's shit. Here we go. So this is related to a man that was held captive for 30 years. He hasn't left his home since he was in the 4th grade. He had looked like almost a concentration camp survivor, missing teeth, skeletons. In my opinion, he was dying. He was on his last bed dying. If he did not set the fire in his house, he would be dead and nobody would even know he was alive because they lost track of him. He was 11 years old when he really saw anybody of significance. And this is the POS attorney that's representing. I shouldn't call a POS attorney. He's a decent attorney and he's trying to educate. I got to be careful. He's doing his job. He's doing his job and representing his client. And that's what we need from defense attorneys. But it still rubs me the wrong way to hear, you know, his defense, which really, in my opinion, is no defense, right? I don't believe that they're going to be able to say this is the way the father, you know, raised his son. Okay, well, if that's the way the father raised his son, she was responsible for reporting it. And she stood by and did nothing, even after his death, to change the environment for this abused child that's now a grown man. So this is going to be a tricky case. The defense, the prosecution, I believe, is very strong in this case. This attorney has an uphill battle, and he does need to refocus the people in and around that community for, you know, jumping to conclusions. That's what defense attorneys want to do. They want to shame you for having common sense, for publicly stating certain things, but he is absolutely correct in the fact that you have rights. You have rights in this country, especially if you are accused of committing crimes. We just don't accuse you and throw you into a jail cell and throw away the key. We go through a legal process that is required in order to convict you to that jail. Okay? This is much different. A lot of countries don't have this process. Many people don't realize they have a very corrupted, one-sided, lopsided legal process. We try to make it fair, even though the defendant has, you know, is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And he also educates people that it's not his responsibility to produce evidence, you know, to exonerate his client, because at the end, thank you, Robin. At the end of the day, they need to prove their case, not the other way around. That's the way our justice system works here. And so I understand, I don't like this attorney because of who he's representing, but we, as all of the accused, we want them to have a pit bull for an attorney, right? We want them to have, because it limits the possibility of appeals. If you have a good, solid attorney and defense, you can't have an appeal of ineffectiveness of counsel or anything like that. So we want them to have a pit bull, and I like how his demeanor is in this interview. He's being peppered with a lot of hostile questions, and he handles himself. You can see he's getting himself a little flustered, but he kind of pulls himself back and really starts advocating for his client on these steps, although we disagree with his position. So here is the public press conference for Kimberly Sullivan, which is the stepmother of the victim, which the victim, I don't know, has been named yet. We don't know who he is, and nobody has said his name. So I'm sure people in that community know his name, but it hasn't been widely recognized online to the best of my knowledge.
Hey, I'm assuming you folks have some questions.
John, on Wednesday you said these were just allegations. Your client hasn't done anything wrong, and you don't have to explain anything that's happened here. If that's the case, if she hasn't done anything, why not explain? You don't have to, but why not explain?
It's hard to hear the questions, and that's true with every press conference. They can hear the questions, but where the microphones are, and a lot of these microphones are designed to resist outside noises and stuff, so it makes it even more complicated to hear the question. But if the microphones weren't designed that way, you hear all that traffic out there that's behind it, all of that would be very, very loud as well. So we can only hear his statements that he's answering the question. I wish people, when they're doing press conferences and they hear a question, they reiterate the question or answer with the question at the beginning. Like, for example, if we asked you what time was the person found, you'd say the time the person was found is blank, right? So they start off with the question so you understand what question you can't hear. And that never happens, of course. And in situations like this, it's not at the top of their mind. So
because we don't have to. Because the way this works,
here it is.
The state has to prove those allegations. They're just allegations on paper. They're just, there's no need for us to do that. As much as everyone doesn't like the idea, there is still a presumption of innocence.
There is.
And that presumption of innocence has been eroded out here, and I'm trying to protect it in there. I know everyone wants to crucify her, everyone's already convicted her, but that's not how this works, and it's not how it's going to work. And the burden is not going to shift to the defense. The burden rests on the state. They got to prove these allegations in court. And
now you guys see why I like him. That's why I said when I called him a POS, it wasn't like I think he's a very smart, bright guy. It's because we don't like him because who he's representing. But other than that, he seems like he really is trying to represent his client. And we understand this. And we want her to have the best defense that she can have. This is going to be a high-profile case, much like Brian Koberger. When you have those high-profile cases, you're not treated like every other case that's on the tit of the state. You're treated with priority, and you have better counsel. Period. It is, whether people want to acknowledge that or not. When you have a high-profile case, they put the best of the best on that case for the defense and the prosecution, because people will intervene and represent other, the defendant for notoriety or, do something like that. And so they're going to have appeals just for the notoriety of the attorneys filing the appeals, if so be it. But you want to try to limit those as much as possible. Thank you, Hobo's Life. Gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received a Bullhorn Betty membership from Hobo's Life, don't forget to tell Hobo's Life thank you and welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Get your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
We're a long way from that. And I recognize that that's an unpopular sentiment, but that's what it is. There's nothing that we care to expand upon. That's really nothing of significance.
What do you have to say about the new witness who claims that Kimberly didn't acknowledge her stepson, didn't even mention his stepson? Oh, 20 years
Is some random witness that wants to come forward and make these allegations. It means nothing. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to come out of the word work and have all these horrible things to say about my client.
Yeah, that's typically what happens. You know, nobody knows that they forgot about him. They dropped off the radar, right? And now that this is front page news across the country, yeah, people that are going to remember this woman or remember certain things about this boy, they're going to come forward. You know, the problem is this was from 30 years ago because she's isolated. This is the key ingredient to abuse. And most of it has to do with isolation of the victim. We've seen it in the Sebastian Rogers case. We know that there was some abuse in his house. And what was the one main thing that we noticed no matter what? We noticed he had freedoms at his dad's house. His dad took him to the parks. His dad took him out to go fishing. His dad took him to the gun range. His dad took him on vacations to Texas. His dad got him out of the house. But when you hear the story at the house that he lived in the majority of the time, where these abuse allegations were derived out of, he was very much a sheltered boy in his room. And if he didn't clean his room, his toys got thrown away. The stress was eating him alive to the point that he was, having accidents and stuff, and was punished for that. And his stepfather hands out all of his underwear to his dad, so he has to sit in diapers at the house for perpetuity, into perpetuity. Further diminishing the self-respect that Sebastian has for himself, they eroded him down to nothing. And it all starts with isolation, in my opinion.
We'll see what's actually admissible in court and what stands up in court under cross-examination.
I forgot to tell you, thank you. Thank you, Robin. Gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Miss Robin thank you. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room and welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Oh, Libby, member for 6 months. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And a big kiss from me to you. A big kiss from me to you. Oh, thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. There's another kiss for you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. So let's get wrapped up with this, and then we're going to move on to the meat and potatoes of our of why we're all here, which is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers.
The Draconis statute, which deals with these conditions that happen pre-trial, why was that important to
So what I was referencing a case. There was a decision in the Draconis case, and in that case, the judge, there was some case law there where it tied in the right to bail and the presumption of innocence. In the written documents we filed 2 memorandums objecting to what the state and what the court did today, what the state sought to do and what the court allowed them to do. And in the memorandum, we do detail my client's rights and how they could be violated and harmed by the decisions that are being made. And one of the arguments we made is if the court was to impose
Thank you, Teresa.
These sanctions, which we believe were not justified, that it could impact my client's right to a fair trial and bear upon the presumption of innocence. I'd be more than happy to share our pleadings with you. The cases are detailed there. We think we made very strong arguments. We think we made appropriate arguments.
So they're in the bail phase, but I didn't want you guys to hear that. I wanted you guys to basically hear the commentary about the presumption of innocence, and we here in the public, we've already judged, we've already convicted, right? We see the stuff, but at the end of the day, he's absolutely right. The burden's not on the defense, the burden's on the state. I think the state's case is very good because just my knowledge, if this is the way his dad was treating her, she's already guilty because she had a responsibility to protect him when he was younger and failed to do so. Then after his father died last year, January 2024, she had the duty to make sure that didn't happen again, and failed yet again to release him, to feed him better, to give him more fluids. At the end of the day, are they working to maybe downgrade some of the charges? Maybe that might be a strategy for them. But I definitely don't see her not being guilty of anything, because from where I sit, she's for 30 years, has stood by and supported her husband. If the statements are true and this is her husband's request, at the end of the day, they kept him locked up well past the age of 18. His teeth are all rotted out, so there's no excuse for that. And when did all that start happening? That's failure to provide proper medical care for a child in her care. It doesn't matter whether his biological father was there or not. We understand that he was wheelchair bound. How much authority does he really have when he's wheelchair bound? It seemed like all of this, and I think that I'm pretty confident that everybody that's going to be a witness is going to talk about her, because they saw her. She's the one that was answering. She was the one that did this. She was the one that did that. And so I think they have an uphill battle. I think the attorney knows that they have an uphill battle. And that's just kind of where we're at. So now we're going to kind of shift very quickly. Again, we're kind of, I don't know. I want to say kind of, I'm running short on time. So it's going to be one of those things that we're going to go through, and I'm going to try to explain. We now have probably about an hour and 15 minutes to try to get through all of this. So I'm going to try to be as consistent and concise as possible. But before we get started, I wanted to, again, thank you for all the channel sponsors this morning. Melanie, thank you so much for your generous donation and contribution to this channel. Ginger Girl, thanks for being a member for 7 months. That's one of the best ways to support this channel, is that monthly membership. Thank you, Stephanie, so very much. Peggy, thank you. Prayers for Sebastian and Seth. Our friend Robin, always making sure we have enough money in the cuss jar. One day I won't need you guys for the cuss jar. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Hobo's Life and Robin gifted Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty memberships, please do not forget to thank the gifters of those Bullhorn Betty memberships. Libby has been with us for 6 solid months. So thank you very, very much, my love, Libby. And thank you for the super sticker as well. Teresa, very generous with the super sticker. God bless you for that. And Lady Roses is saying prayers, loves, and hugs to Sebastian and Seth Rogers. Thank you so very much. You guys know that we have been discussing for some time. Oh, well, we stopped discussing it for a really long time, but back when this case was kind of just generating a lot of interest in the case, another content creator was diving into the history of the mom. And when they did that, they found some information. We're not going to go over what happened, why her mother is an RSO. I don't think that's relevant to the Sebastian Rogers case at this moment. I think people that are in tune with this case know, and I don't think that that has to be repeated. But at the end of the day, we know Katie Proudfoot's mother, Frances Rosenbaum, is an RSO. And a lot of questions at the beginning was she allowed to be around Sebastian? And everybody adamantly said he's not allowed to be around her. She's not even allowed to have communications with him. whatever the case may be. Now, I was unaware whether this, him not being able to speak to her or see her was an internal thing, part of their divorce decree and custody of Sebastian, or whether or not it was a requirement of the state of Virginia where she was prosecuted and where, the last we know, she currently lived in the state of Virginia, and what those rules are. Well, there was something that was, that was sent to me that made me kind of look up under the hood to find out, is there any, which you guys know, if it doesn't really have a lot to do with Sebastian, I'm not getting involved in it. But because there are now allegations that she did have contact with him, there's references that she could be the green hoodie gal that was seen or observed on the outside of the Texas Roadhouse. People have had an overwhelming interest in whether Francis, an RSO, was around children. So I thought before we got started here, we would go over some information about what an RSO is. Hold on, let me get it pulled up here real quick. Okay. What an RSO is, what their requirements are. Hey Yada, it's good to see you. I know this is probably going to bother you a little bit, but it is some information that has come across my desk, so we are going to be discussing it. Oops. Yeah, there it is. So here's Francis's profile. And it says that this is a level tier 3 right here on her offender data. And it goes in to talk about what are the charges. Again, we're not going to go with the charges. We're just going to have the presumption she is an RSO, and what are the rules and regulations related to RSOs and their contact or their ability to have contact with children. And so this is what I have found in context of RSOs. Tier 3 RSO signifies the most severe category, typically involving offenses like aggravated SA of minors, kidnapping, and they require lifetime registration and frequent verifications, typically every 90 days for the rest of their life. It's quite, I mean, it's pretty extensive. It's pretty extensive when it comes to the requirements that the states are making them, handle this. They are now understanding that RSOs in many cases it's hard for them to stop. Not that this is the case for this, but she was convicted of some pretty ugly crimes, and she is a tier 3 RSO. So it says sex offenders prohibiting proximity to children. So this means that they can only have limited, approved, and monitored interaction with children, typically if it's their child or if it's a family event, but they are not allowed to have any contact with family without the proper procedures being involved, if they even allow it. Now, I haven't been able to determine one way or another whether or not that they are even allowed it. And so I came across a Facebook page that's publicly available, and I'm going to caution everybody in my chat, please don't go over there. If you do go over there, please don't disrupt this lady. This lady looks like a good Christian lady. And in my opinion, doesn't or didn't at the time know who Suzette was. What am I talking about? Well, I've learned that, not Suzette, Francis. What I've learned is Francis was married. She was married in 2020. I've got it up here. Hold on, let me just tell you the exact date that they got married. Katie's mom got married to a guy on May 3rd, 2020. And we're going to go through this because this is where things get a little sticky. They never filed a marriage certificate, and because Virginia is Commonwealth, they can have common law marriages and no need to report that marriage to the state by way of marriage license, right? They people can marry who they want to marry. If they've tied the knot, they tied the knot. So we have this situation where she was married on May 3rd, 2020 to this man here. He looks considerably younger than her. And he's also the owner, or his family is the owner of the house that she resides in. But did his family know that he was marrying an RSO? I'm unsure whether they know or not. But I can tell you that she has been, in fact, around other children. Let's look at this.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jonathan.
I'm not sure why it's not showing up.
Happy birthday to you.
I'm not sure why it's not showing up on stage. Okay, maybe I gotta do this. There it is. All right, so let's start this over again.
Birthday to you.
That's her out there.
Happy birthday, dear Jonathan. Happy birthday to you.
So there you go. There's your first evidence that she has been in contact with children. Okay? And again, like I said, the person that posted this looks like a great human being, a very good individual that loves God, that worships, has an amazing voice, sings, and it makes me question whether anybody knew about Frances or her history, or whether or not she's allowed to be around children. But it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't stop there. Let me show you guys something. We're going to go through a slideshow that I have prepared this morning. So here we have, there's her RSO. Oops, those are not supposed to be seen. Hold on a second. I'll have to go down here because there's certain things I don't want seen. So in Virginia, a class 6 felony is the least severe of the type of felonies, but still carries significant penalties of imprisonment for 1 to 5 years, or jail time up to 12 months, or a fine of $2,500 or not, or less. So we do have that. Here is the marriage, the wedding for Frances Rosenbaum to her husband. And here are the attendees. Here are the attendees online to her wedding. And what you see here is 2 different families. And of course, Katie and Sebastian. There's Sebastian right there watching his grandmother. Now, mind you, I don't know why, but watching his grandmother get married. So has she had contact with Sebastian Rogers prior to his disappearance? And the answer is yes. And some people may say, well, we knew that. Katie went to the funeral for her grandfather. Wouldn't his daughter be there, her mother? And the answer is most likely that answer is yes. If you guys want to see it a little bit clearer, there you go. There Katie is with Sebastian in the background, watching the wedding. Now, it's my understanding this lady is not allowed to have contact with children. And I'm pretty confident that Seth has already made himself be known that he does not want his son around somebody with the types of crimes she has been charged with. And here's more evidence that she has been around children. Uncle Tim and Aunt Frances. Uncle Tim and Aunt Frances. And here they are with his grandmother. So we definitely know. And also at the same event, look at all of these children that are out at the event. But somewhere along the way, Miss Rosenbaum is starting to lose her hair. And we don't know if it's an illness, if something else is going on with her. But this is kind of where it starts leading us into this potential for the green hoodie guy, right? Or gal, because it was a green hoodie guy at first. And then all of a sudden, it's a green hoodie gal. We watched the green hoodie person walk into the bathroom of the Texas Roadhouse. And I think this is why many people believe that person may be Katie's mom. We do not have any evidence to support that. And that will be a topic of conversation much, much later. But for the time being, was this lady in contact with Sebastian and or other kids? Yes, she was. Yes, she was. And it makes me wonder, did her other family that she married into know this about her before they put children around her? And based upon the page where these derived from, the lady doesn't look like that kind of parent. She seems like she's a very loving parent that would protect her children. And we also noticed that after this 2020, 2021, and into 2022, that was it. We see no more photos of Katie's mom in any more family photos. So it was like this 2-year period. They get married in 2020. By 2022, there's not really anything in this family where they're associating with one another. So I found that a little odd. The last time, and it looks like that they were in contact with each other since 2010. So I don't know how long she was dating her boyfriend, because that's now her husband, because we don't have that information readily available to us. There's no record of the marriage, but we clearly see that she was married on March 3rd, 2020. And so I start going over here, and, again, this is public record. It's on a public platform and available to the public. So I'm looking at this, and once again, and I wouldn't show this, I don't have the ability to, like, people are probably going to say, why didn't she blur this out? Because I'm on public records. I don't have the ability. I don't have the ability to blur out a Facebook. They have to blur their person out themselves. I can't do it. Or make the Facebook private would be a suggestion for everybody. But if we're going to go to the Facebook groups that are publicly available to everybody, you can clearly see not only is this RSO in a room with a child, is sitting next to that child. So the question is, does she have permission to be there? Here's a completely different one. Children are always available, are always at this house. These people have children. They have children's parties. I'm sorry. Let me get off that. Hold on. I went too far. I didn't mean to do that. Let me take that off. That wasn't what I was trying to show. And the last time I can see where she was around children was in 2021. So again, this is highly disturbing for the types of crimes that Frances has to deal with, and also seeing her around an obvious large amount of children between the time frame of 2020 to 2022. And that really does bother me. And I really don't care. I understand that people may be frustrated with, are upset with me for running this show, but this is children. Okay? And I don't care really about it. We're here for the kids. And I just want to know, at what point were these kids going to be protected? Because we as parents don't willingly allow these types of people to come around our young children. as hurtful as that may be, when they're following the rules, following the law, and not around children, it wouldn't even be on this show. I have not talked about her mother in any type of literal sense or about the allegations. I think we hinted on the allegations early on. I realized they had no bearing in the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. And out of respect for that side of the family that had nothing to do with it, I left that alone. I left that alone. But now I am seeing a direct linkage with the grandmother talking not only to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, but also being around a lot of other children that we can produce photos for. And I've got these downloaded. So if law enforcement needs them, if Seth needs them, if anybody needs them, I have them downloaded. So if they decided to privatize this, I'm happy to blur. I can't blur stuff out on a Facebook page, but I am happy to blur out faces on the copies that I retain for whatever. But again, this is highly, highly, highly disturbing for me. And again, this would not have been aired on my show had it not been for the connection to children. So if anybody out there is saying or passing around the misinformation and disinformation that her mother had no contact with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, that is factually false. If they say her mother had no contact with other children, that is factually false. Now, I'd have to believe that this Christian lady most likely found out some history. Maybe she knew it. I truly don't believe she did. I'm a Christian woman. I've seen a lot of Christian people out there. We love to help people in need. We love to lift them up off their feet. When people do their time, they do their time. We want them to move past. But this is one of those charges that you can't risk your children. You know what I'm saying? It's not that you can't love the person. It's not that you can't forgive them. But the law is the law. And if they want redemption, they have to follow the law. Now, again, I don't know this lady. I do know that she's tier 3. I know that is a very, that's the worst case scenario tier. And everything that we know, those type of tiered people are not supposed to be associating with any child. So even with the Christians, we still believe in following the law. We still believe in helping out where we can help out. But we are not going to risk our own offspring because we feel this person may not hurt our child. Now, there are some people out there that would risk their child's safety because they love a person and they know that this was all that they got set up, right? They were just set up. I'm not saying with this case. I don't think we've ever heard that in this case, but just in general, we hear, the girlfriend doesn't mind the boyfriend coming over because he was set up. He would never do anything like this until it happens to their child. So I really don't know what to think about this, but I hope if there are things going on and she is around children, that's not good for me. That's not good for me. I understand the need to want to get your life back after probably a situation like this, but the law says you can't. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about anything else other than advocating for children and to make sure no child is harmed. If you guys know of somebody that is dating somebody that's on this registry, please be a friend and caution them about what they're risking. What they are risking. We can't, our children are prey as is from people all over the world with their disgusting proclivities. We have to protect our children at all costs. And I'm just praying, I don't know this lady, but I know what she's been charged with. And unfortunately, it don't look good. And you can't be around kids. And you can't risk kids. And I have to say this, I pray to God no other child was injured. She was around a lot of kids in a 2-year period of all different age groups. This is a no-go for me. This is a no-go for me. So you guys take this breaking news information. Were we able to corroborate this information? Without a doubt, and with supporting information. Not only was this lady able to communicate with Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, she was also able to communicate and be personally around other vulnerable children. So take it for what you will. You heard it here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. For the people that helped with all of this and bringing all this to light, God bless you for that. God bless you for the ones that put this in my head. I do appreciate everything that you guys do to try to keep our heads on our shoulders, the community safe. And I truly believe this information hopefully will keep the community even safer. Even safer. She was never left undersupervised with any of these children in the PIC, nor with Sebastian. I was at the funeral. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the way I'm reading the statute. The only way she'd be allowed around these children is with approval by and there's an approval process that she's going to have to go through to get approval for this. I don't know of any probation officers that's going to let her go to a child's birthday party. And yeah, there were a lot of adults there. But again, what do you do? I'm not implying that it is her. I'm just simply saying that this is why people believe it is her. I did not imply one way or another that the green hoodie person is her at all. And if you go back to the better part of this video, I even say this is the reason why I believe many people believe she's the green hoodie gal. So that's the information I got that is supported by proper documentation. And I'm sorry, but this is very serious. We have a tier 3 RSO going to a child's birthday party. And I'm sorry that some people may not have a problem with that. Here on this channel, we do have a problem with that. We have a very, very much a big problem with that. So take it for what you will. Take the information. If you found it useful, please don't forget to give a thumbs up. And again, I'm sorry that, this is coming on my show. I have high respect for Yeda. And I know that, some of the stuff I talk about has got to be difficult. And for her, as well as the other families that had nothing to do with the disappearance of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And my heart truly does go out to all of the family that was sucked into this case. It's very sad, but once stuff comes to light, it's very hard to put it, back in the bottle. And I'm not going to. This is a conversation we've had for some time, and again, I haven't moved forward with any type of conversation about Katie's mom out of respect for the situation until this. This is a little too much for me. So there's the information. You guys take it for what you will. I hope you guys have an amazing Saturday. I hope you guys have learned something new. Does this affect Sebastian? I don't know. Because again, the green shirt and hoodie and everything like that, that's going to have to be on a different show. I've got to be convinced, just like Yeda said, right now I haven't bridged that she is the green shirt or green hoodie person that everybody saw. but I can see now why so many people were thinking it was. So we might have to go down that road as well, but right now we're not ready to. So we'll see where the information leads. But this right here, I have to be honest with you, is highly disturbing for me. And I'm sorry, it just is. All right, guys, God bless you. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, kind to one another. For all of the people, I know on paper it doesn't look like we met our goal, but we did meet our goal. So tomorrow after church, probably around 12 or 12:30, we're going to have an open call-in live show to discuss some of the things that we've been hearing, get some updates on this case, as well as we're covering about 3 or 4 cases right now. Give updates on those. Anything that you guys would like to talk about, guys are more than welcome to call in and have a good discussion on whatever topic it is. It'll be a day for you guys and you guys to talk and you guys to kind of get some of that stuff off your chest. So that's going to happen tomorrow at 12:30. We will see you then. Again, I'll see you guys back here at 8 o'clock Central Time for Sebastian. No, she doesn't. No, I absolutely agree with you. There's no possibility of her having Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I think that's been well established at this point. For those that need to know, it has no appearance of her mom having anything to do with Sebastian. So just to make sure that that's clarified out there. So tonight we'll be over on Seth's page and Seth's channel, listening to whatever he has to say. And then after that, I'm thinking around 9:30, we will go live for probably about a half an hour, 45 minutes, just to talk about whatever we heard on Seth's channel, unless it starts spilling over to 10 o'clock. Once it starts spilling over at 10 o'clock, I start crashing pretty quickly. So we'll play it by ear for tonight, but absolutely tomorrow after church. And if you guys would like to come to church, we also have Turkey Man. He gives an amazing testimony every Sunday as he worships and preaches over his flock. And we've got the Countryside Christian Church that we go to for our live at 9:15. We're all there. So if you guys would like to, please come over. Oh, thank you, Lisa B. Always, and Elizabeth. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So come by, check it out, worship, refill your cup for the week, shake off the negativity, and let's roll into the week with a lot of positivity. Don't forget, I think it's Tuesday. I have a major hearing. If you guys could all say a huge prayer over me, over the case, over everybody that's going to be there for, safety, strength, and just whatever. I certainly would appreciate it. I don't really ever ask for prayers for myself too much, but we've got a bumpy couple weeks. So if you guys can think to put Bullhorn Betty on your prayer list, I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have an amazing day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye, guys. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless
our victims.